Welcome to Qwixx, a so-called roll and write game. The goal is simple. Each player tries to cross out as many numbers as possible in the 4 color rows on their sheet. The more crosses in a color row, the more points you get for it. Whoever has the most points at the end wins the game. Preparing the game. The game includes 6 dice in 5 different colors and the scoring pad. Each player gets a sheet of the pad and needs something to write with. Then you decide which player first takes on the role of the active player. That player starts the game by rolling all dice. Gameplay. After each roll, you carry out the following 2 actions in this order. First, the active player adds up the pips on the 2 white dice and announces the sum. Each player may then cross off that number once in any color row, but they are not obligated to do so. Second, the active player, and only the active player, may choose 1 white die and 1 colored die and add up their pips for a second cross. The total must be crossed out in the row that matches with the colored die. But again, the player doesn't have to do that. General rules. The first basic rule of the game is that numbers can only be crossed out from left to right. In the best case, you start with number 2 in red and yellow and number 12 in blue and green, but you don't have to. Like in this example, you can start with 11 in the green row. You are also always allowed to skip a number, or even several numbers at once. However, left-out numbers, like the green 12 and 10 here, are not allowed to be crossed out afterwards. The next cross in a color row must be placed to the right of the rightmost cross. The second basic rule only affects the active player of a turn. If you, as the active player, don't cross off any numbers in the first or second action, that counts as a skipped turn. In this case, you need to put an X in one of the boxes in the skipped turns area of your sheet. Finishing a row. If you want to cross out the number on the far right of a row, you first need to make sure you have already crossed out at least 5 numbers on that row. When you cross out the final number of a row, you also cross out the padlock symbol at the end of the row. That additional X will count towards your score at the end of the game. Once a padlock has been crossed out, that row will be considered complete for all players. No one can cross out any of the numbers on that row for the rest of the game. That's why it's important to announce it for the other players. After that, you remove the die of the corresponding color, because it is not needed anymore in this game. End of the game. The game ends immediately as soon as someone has marked their 4th misthrow, or as soon as the second color row has been closed off. Then all players check their scoring. On the scoring sheet is indicated how many points are gained for how many crosses within each row. 4 crosses in red, for example, mean 10 points for the first row. After you have determined the points for all 4 colors, you count 5 negative points for each skipped turn. This gives you the final score. The player with the highest score is the winner. And this is how you play Qwixx. Thank you for watching and enjoy your time with our game.